Hey everybody, Daniel from Spacedock here. Just a quick heads up before we get started. Our original science fiction audio drama, The Sojourn, is now available on Audible, Google Books, Patreon, Scribd, and iTunes. We've been really excited to see the reception it's been getting, and if you're interested in checking it out, you can find the links below this video. If you decide to get the series through Patreon and pledge at Wanderer tier or higher, not only will you get every volume of The Sojourn as and when it's completed, but you'll also get access to The Sojourn Visual Dictionary, which is our comprehensive digital lore book on The Sojourn, done in the style of the classic Star Wars visual dictionaries. Please do consider checking it out. It's a real passion project for us, and I think a lot of you would really enjoy it. Hey, I'm Daniel from Spacedock, and let's talk about Marco Inaros. In Marco Inaros, the Expanse gives us a villain with a terrifying magnetism to him. It's not his strength or his influence or even his cunning that makes him such an unnerving villain. Marco Inaros is truly frightening because he is extraordinarily persuasive. The dream that Marco Inaros is selling to the people of the Belt is one so powerfully persuasive that it's hard not to appreciate its appeal even as a viewer looking at the setting from the outside. The Belters are not just people who live in space, they're creatures of space. Generations of cultural and biological changes have made space into their natural habitat, and for a great many of them, planets like Earth and those beyond the ring gates are literally uninhabitable. To the people of the Belt, the opening of the ring gates is a palpable existential threat. They are a byproduct of a period in history where living and working in space for generations was a societal necessity, but with hundreds of worlds now within reach and ready to be colonized, it seems increasingly likely that the Belters may become a quaint historical footnote from a different time, an entire race of people doomed to become obsolete, to fall through the cracks and be forgotten. The majority of Belters could never live on these new worlds, but they'd continue to be subservient to the people who can, just as they have to Earth and Mars for centuries, and those who could adapt and live on the new worlds would cease to be Belters. How can you pass down a culture based entirely on an environment you no longer live inside? The divide between planet-bound life and life in space is far greater in the realistic setting of the Expanse than it is within most science fiction. A person can't effortlessly hop between life on Earth and life in space, and most never make the transition at all. The realities of time and gravity make them almost different planes of existence, and yet the Belters live in poverty and servitude to places they can never visit, and can often scarcely imagine. Marco Inaros is ostensibly fighting for a system where the Inners would remain on their planets. They could no longer use Belters to offset their own economic or ecological short-sightedness, or to supply and fund their wars with one another, and would be forced to treat their own planets with the same respect that Belters show their ships and stations, to keep them safe and sustainable as their one and only habitat. With this outcome, the Belters are able to remain creatures of space. They get to rule the domain that they have always understood far better than the people who rule them. And it's only a vision like that that can inspire people to commit the kind of atrocities we've seen Marco Inaros direct toward the inner planets. Marco is lethally charismatic and convincing, and in many ways he is right about the state of the system. The man is also a dangerous and selfish narcissist, who on close analysis seems to truly care far more about himself than about the Belt, playing on the fears of Belters to build his own power. But these aspects of his character are hidden beneath the smokescreen of a noble cause, and even some of the few Belters who actually see him for what he is still find his dream too appealing to turn down. It's worth pointing out that some of the earliest casualties of Marco's efforts to save the Belt are Clace Ashford and Fred Johnson, people who have struggled for years on behalf of the same Belters Marco ostensibly fights for. They represented a more moderate strategy, requiring time and patience and sacrifice and understanding, adopting uniforms and altering laws to legitimize themselves as a nation over a great period of time. It would have been harder, but it was a noble cause that those men poured their life's work into, only to be betrayed and killed by Inaros and his reactionary faction. Marco is more interested in giving Belters instant satisfaction and vengeance, because that's the quick and easy way to get them on board and to build his own power. Marco Inaros is a pertinent villain, with disturbing parallels to a great many figures both historical and contemporary. He knows the right things to say, he has the presence to say them with feeling, and he has exactly the right audience to say them to. His rise to power makes for an acute warning about what can happen when a disenfranchised people with due cause to be afraid for their own future are rallied behind an ambitious and charismatic man who promises to save them. And many thanks to The Expanse for giving us such a fantastic antagonist to watch this season, brilliantly written and performed as always. Thank you all for watching. This is Daniel from Spacedock, signing off. Thank you for watching Spacedock. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please do check out the links on the screen right now or in the description below for our Patreon and channel membership services. Anything you can pledge goes towards improving our team and our equipment and allowing us to put together bigger and more exciting video projects for you guys on the channel.